I'd now like to recognize our elected officials. If they could please stand and be recognized, and please hold your applause until the end. From Manatee County, we have Commissioners Amanda Ballard and Jason Bearden. From the City of Bradenton, Mayor Jean Brown, Vice Mayor Jane Coker, Councilwomen Mary Ann Barnaby, Pam Coachman, and Lisa Gonzalez Moore, and City Councilman Josh Kramer. Thank you all for your service and commitment to making our community such a wonderful place to work, live, and play. I'd also like to recognize our headliner sponsors. Those are Florida Power and Light, Manatee Memorial Hospital, the Mosaic Company, and the Realtor Association of Sarasota and Manatee. Thank you to our platinum investors, Brown & Sons Funeral Homes and Crematory, Carr Rings and Ingram, the City of Bradenton, IMG Academy, Manatee County Government, Manatee Memorial Hospital, MCR Health and All Care Options, the Mosaic Company, NDC Commercial Real Estate, NDC Construction Company, the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Bradenton Marauders Baseball, Raymond James Wealth Management and Bruce Body, the Sarasota Bradenton International Airport, and South State Bank. The Manatee Chamber continues to advocate on behalf of the business community on priorities that are important to you. And transportation and infrastructure is certainly at the top of that list. We all know how busy our roads and bridges are. We drive them every day. But fortunately, the folks at FDOT, they know too. And that's why we value that relationship that we have with our state agencies. Now, earlier this year in February, several members of the Chamber's Legislative Committee accompanied me to Tallahassee, and the very first meeting that we had during our two-day visit was at the DOT office. There we met with Secretary Jared Perdue and District 1 Secretary L.K. Nandum. It was a productive meeting, and we so appreciate the time they spent with us. Now, at this meeting, we discussed current and future road and bridge projects for Manatee County, ones that we know directly impact your business's bottom line. So I am eager for Nicole's presentation today. We're now going to allow IMG to serve lunch. Once we return to the mic, Richard Bedford, who is our Transportation Committee Chairman, he's also the President and CEO of Real Consulting. He will be back at the podium to officially introduce our speaker. So enjoy lunch.
Good afternoon. My name is Richard Bedford. I'm an architect, contractor, planner, and greedy land developer here in Manatee County. And I'm here to introduce to you Nicole Mills. Nicole has 30 years of experience with the Florida Department of Transportation. She's currently serving as the Interim Director of Transportation Development, where she oversees the work program development, project cost estimating planning, multimodal, PD&E design, and right-of-way units. She has spent her entire career in transportation development, has held various roles in design, consultant project management, and most recently in intermodal systems development. She's a graduate. She's a Hokie. She's a graduate of Virginia Tech, great college. Way to go, VOTech, with a degree in civil engineering. She has her professional engineer's license here in the state of Florida. She is a certified public manager, and she's here with us from Florida Department of Transportation. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Nicole Mills.
Thank you, everybody. Sorry, I'm not L.K. Nandum. He does send his apologies. He got, if you're not aware, he is filling in as an assistant state secretary until the end of May. So he sends his apologies, but he got hung up with the state legislators today. So we got me instead. Hopefully I don't disappoint. So today we have, make sure I get this clicker going right. So before we get into it, I tend to squirrel away. We'll hear a story here, we'll hear a story there type thing. So I'll try to stay on target and get you in and out in about 20 minutes. That's the timeline they gave me. So a little story about DOT. When Secretary Perdue got his position as the state secretary, he took us back to our roots. And we're placing the community at the center. We call this our pillar. Everything we do is based around our communities. And then we have the supporting pillars of safety, workforce development, technology, resiliency, and a robust supply chain. These all have to work together, and if they don't work, then the community doesn't succeed. If the community, in order for the community to succeed, all these pieces have to fall in line. So we are at the DOT, we place safety number one because we want everybody to make it home safe. That's a shared responsibility between the DOT and the community members. Safety is not just a DOT focused item. Workforce development, if we don't put our effort into creating the next generation, where is that going to leave the community and the state? Right now, we're one of the top 5 states for transportation, consistently ranked national. So we like that ranking, and we want to stay in the top 5. And then technology. What technology can we bring to the state? What software developers, what automobile developers can we bring to the state to practice their, we have sun tracks in the Lakeland area, specifically to try this technology out. Florida is one of the most progressive states for allowing transportation technology to be tried. So way to go, Florida, and bringing the biggest and best minds in innovation to the state. So enough on that. I can talk for a while on that. So,
just a little closer to the
which microphone? Oh, no wonder I'm using the right one. Sorry, everybody. Normally, I don't have a problem getting heard even without a microphone. Okay. So a little bit on our growth story. Florida is one of 11 mega regions. In order to get the map on the screen, I chopped off California. Sorry, California. California is a mega region. It was originally in yellow. But Florida is one of the 11 mega regions. These mega regions account for 70% of the nation's population and jobs. People are moving to Florida in droves because of our strong economy, our freedom-focused approach to government. They want to live here, put their kids in school here, open a business, and of course vacation. And that trend is not slowing down. Typically, our projects are built in the 5-year program. They're focused on a 2 to 3% population growth rate. Some of these regions in Florida are growing at 20 to 30%. And with that number, we all feel it on our roadways. So we need to do something now because time spent in congestion is ultimately time spent away from our family and friends and does decrease our quality of life. So the growth in District 1, those not familiar with District 1, we have 12 counties in southwest Florida, starting in Polk County all the way down to Collier County, as far west as Okeechobee. So most of the development, 82% of the population, 84% of the traded industry jobs are within 10 miles of the interstates and expressways. So you see the heat map. This is from the 2020 census. So our coastal region and our Polk County, they continue to grow. Sarasota, Manatee growth combined are expected to reach over 1 million people by 2035. Port Manatee's cargo throughput reached 10.4 million tons in 2021. Dan is walking around here somewhere. He can probably give you an updated number on that. And the total passenger in planes with Sarasota Bradenton, 73% increase in 2021 from 1.8 million passengers to 3.8 million passengers. So what you see on this graph, I like this graphic to show how well Sarasota Bradenton Airport is doing. The purple line is SRQ. The red line is the Sanford Airport, blue line is the St. Pete Airport, and the green line is the Punta Gorda Airport. And those are our nearby airports of a similar size. Look at how well Sarasota Bradenton is doing. So regarding our growth in the Manatee County area, here's an aerial view from 1985. Now, I'm not exactly sure where we got this from. We didn't quite have Google Earth back in 1985. One of my consultants gave it to me. I didn't ask him, but I said, yeah, that looks about right based on my 30 years in the state. So you notice the tight trend, the tight grid network, and all the development west of I-75. Then you look at 2020, the difference in the type of development and the difference in the sprawl. So that's why we have some of the problem that we have right now. With the way the developments are happening. If you have one of these gated communities, and I'm guilty of this, you live 2 miles back from your main road. Are you going to go to the main entrance and get your child on the school bus? Are you going to keep going and drive them on to school? I'm guilty. I drove them right on to school. So everybody is using one main entrance in and out. That puts a strain on our water, our sewer, our fire rescue, all of our resources. So it also strains the roadways here. Because of that development pattern, we've put together a year of need, and this is just a quick glance at some of the roadways in the area. This is data based on our long-range transportation model from our Sarasota Manatee MPO. We're bringing in any kind of development information that we have and projecting our traffic forecast. And this goes out to the year 2045 as our traffic projections. So our year of need is when it's telling us that we need to do something on that piece of roadway. Red means we need to do something now. The yellow, and I'll get to I-75 in a minute, the yellow is the time frame 2030 to 2040. It's in a 10-year time frame because these are our model projections. We can't get this to be exact. A lot of these roadways, we can't widen. It's too expensive. We can't build our way out of congestion on some of these roadways. The right-of-way is too constrained. You have high-rise apartment, high-rise buildings, shopping centers right on the right-of-way line. I mean, I came in on 684. I mean, the right-of-way line, they had cars parked all over in car dealerships. As a taxpayer, we can't buy that and widen that road. We have to come up with a different solution. So I-75, this is factored once the current construction is complete, 64, 70, 301. Then it is expected to operate at a decent level until 2030. So we have a special interstate program office that's working on our interstate as a focus area. So our current and future projects, the DeSoto Bridge. We have this bridge currently funded for replacement. The bridge itself is experiencing the bridge is not going to fall down. Let me just say that. The bridge is not going to fall down. But it is one of our older bridges. It's not built to current standards. The lanes are narrow. There's no sidewalks. There's no bicycle facility. I went over the bridge on the way in. It's narrow. It's tight. So we have it programmed to do an in-kind replacement in fiscal year 27. It's 2 lanes in each direction now. It will be 2 lanes in each direction when we do that bridge replacement. Since we have the money now, we're not analyzing it at this point for any kind of capacity improvement. If we do that, then we will miss our funding opportunity to replace the bridge. And we don't want to miss out on $150 million. So design is currently in PD&E. Design's going to start next year. And right away, we'll start in fiscal year 25 and then construction in 27. So that will be good. We'll get a little bit more, if you're not feeling so squeezed in, that'll make it feel a little bit better, a little bit more pleasurable, go over the bridge. It will not help with the congestion. Now, to assist with the congestion, we have a separate study for the Bradenton-Palmetto connector. This study is focusing on where additional river crossing might be needed. It's not focusing on what that treatment is at this point in time. We want to make sure we keep these two studies entirely separate. If we merge these two studies, then we will lose the bridge replacement money. So we need to let this Bradenton-Palmetto process follow its way through our process that Federal Highway has us following. It's a national process. So we are determining where people start their trip, where people end their trip, and how many people are going in that direction, what time of day they're going in those directions. And then we're coming up with a possible alignment area, possible alignment alternatives. It could be from the northeast to the southwest as you're crossing the river, vice versa. We're getting that information right now. Once we're done with that, then we could have 1, 2, 3 PD&E studies breaking out of this overarching study. Now, Hernando de Soto Bridge could be a possible study coming out of this for future capacity needs. We don't know enough at this point in time to say yes it is or no it's not. So we just don't know. It's too early in the process. I-75, we have an interstate program office. Some of you may have had some conversations with this group. We have the entire interstate in District 1 being analyzed for managed lanes through this office. We have I-75 South, and each section is color-coded. So we have I-75 South, that's Lee and Collier County. We have I-75 Central, that's the Charlotte and very southern portion of Sarasota. And then the north overview is Sarasota and Manatee. If you are on their website, the Southwest Florida Interstate Roads, I think it is, orange is the color for this section of interstate. So each project on the interstate has its own color code. If you follow the color code, you'll be fine and you'll know exactly what project we're talking about. So this project is analyzing different typical sections. It's also analyzing tolling versus no tolling. They have just completed their second round of public involvement, and now they're coming up with their final alternative to move into the PD&E. So here's a couple of typical sections that they're looking at. One is a 10-lane undivided. Another one has 4 general use with 3 managed lane, be it toll or not tolled. I'm not sure what the final outcome of that decision was, or even if we made it there yet. They're keeping that a little close to the chest right now because our criteria on that does keep changing. So State Road 70, we have some good news for State Road 70 on the east side of I-75. Next week, we open bids for the first project, and that is, make sure I get the limits correct, Lorraine to Bourneside. The first little piece is going to be widened to 6 lanes, and then you get to the first roundabout, we'll go to 4 lanes, all the way to Bourneside. So that is going to be design build. So in 6 to 9 months, you'll probably see construction activities if you live out that way, if you work out that way. So design build means we're hiring the firm to do both the design and the construction. So they have to get through some of the design elements first. And the second section in the yellow, that is the piece that was part of Governor DeSantis moving Florida forward. This is going through legislation right now with our current budget determination. So the governor put through $7 million in proposed projects. That's not a done deal until the legislature is done negotiating. So if they approve the Moving Florida Forward and this project stays on the list, we are scheduled for a May next year letting. If it doesn't make the list, then we have to find a different way to secure the construction money because we don't have it from another source at this point in time. But the typical section that we're showing it includes a lot of speed management features, the roundabouts that will slow people down, some narrower lanes to also help slow people down, and we're moving bicycle features over to shared use paths on the side of the road. We're taking off the bicycle lane because we're noticing people aren't really using that, putting it on a shared use path. This is a lot of neighborhoods through this area. So families can then go and ride the pathway and hopefully get people out of their houses and enjoying nature a little bit more. That's why they're moving to Florida. Bridge projects that we have going on in the area. We have three, in addition to the Hernando de Soto Bridge, we have three intercoastal bridges that we're looking for replacement. The Anna Maria Bridge, and here's a rendering, an artist rendering of Anna Maria and an artist rendering of Cortez. Both of those are in design currently. Both had extensive aesthetics committee meetings. So this is the artist rendering based on the outcome of the aesthetics committees for both bridges. So the Cortez Bridge is first out of the queue. It's supposed to go to construction in fiscal year 26, so in about 3 years. The cost for construction is estimated right now about $110 million, going from a bascule bridge to a high span. Then next we have the Anna Maria Bridge, State Road 64 out to the islands. That is also a bascule bridge replacement into a high span bridge. Fiscal year 29 is where it's targeted. That money's not secure yet, but they do the bridge on a 10-year program, so we're pretty sure we're going to keep it in 29. And that cost is estimated right now at $138 million. And then we have a job in PD&E, so I don't have an artist rendering on that yet because we don't know what type of bridge it's going to end up being. That's Longboat Pass Bridge from North Shore to Coquina Park entrance. We are looking at 2032 for that year of construction on that one. Right now, we think it's going to end up being a bascule bridge because there's just not enough distance for a high span to tie it down. But do we know for sure? No, we're not done with the PD&E, so we can't predetermine anything there. All right, so the resurfacing projects, we have a big resurfacing program in District 1 and actually all over the state. Fiscal year 26 is our biggest year of resurfacing. So in Manatee County, over the next 3 years, we have 149 lane miles, equaling 19 resurfacing projects, and that total is $91 million. So you're going to see a lot of construction activities coming up in the next 3 years, specifically on US 41, Cortez, State Road 70 has some, State Road 64. All the major suspects. So to help out some of that congestion, we do have some of our transit projects. One project we're pretty proud of is Route 99 with MCAT and SCAT. And the reason I bring both agencies in is because Route 99 does go across county line. And it does, one of the transfer hubs is at the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport. So the two agencies are working together with FDOT. We got a grant to increase their headway. We're going to, or to decrease our headway from 30-minute down to 20-minute. And so I think the county was putting in an earmark to try to get some additional buses so we could actually achieve that 20-minute headway. Doesn't do any good to have 20-minute on a schedule if you don't have the bus to run up and down the road at the same time. So we're hopeful that that will go through. And for last year, we had 406,000 riders on this route. So this is a very good example of a successful transit route. Some other investments we have in Manatee County. Along I-75, we have I-75 at the 301 interchange. This is a really big project. It's about 4 miles long, starting on the north side of State Road 64 and going over the river to the north side of US 301. Building new bridges over the Manatee River, including new ramp bridges. We're taking out the loop ramps that are now backing up onto the interstate, which is causing an unsafe condition, and we're having the ramp go right over the river and tying in. So at a traffic light, no loop ramps anymore. So that's a very positive thing. And then they're adding some auxiliary lane between 301 and State Road 64. If you've gone down to Sarasota and traveled that route on the interstate, you've seen some auxiliary lanes. They go from exit to exit, and it helps with capacity, but it's not really a through lane. It just gives you more time to merge in. So the construction on this interchange job is anticipated to be complete mid-2025, so there's still a little bit of time left to go on this one. State Road 70 interchange, this is finishing up. They tell me it is done, but I'm like, I haven't driven through. I skirted through it. Is it finished? Yeah. Finally, yeah. I know it took a long time, didn't it? But it looks nice. It looks nice. Keith goes through there quite a bit. It does look very nice. So 301 at State Road 62 in Parrish. We are partnering with Manatee County on this project. And this is for a little bit of a realignment. Currently, when 62 comes out to 301, it's a very tight turn, very little sight distance. So the county is realigning State Road 62 to bring it down about a block to tie it into Erie Road, and there will be a signal there, and it opens the area up to some development, and that will be very nice when that is done. Came through there today, and they have some pavement down, so that's looking like it's moving along very well. And then we're proud of this corridor, State Road 64, the roundabouts. Many of you might remember there were some pretty horrible fatalities out there at the intersections, Rye Road and Greyhawk. And we don't ever like to hear of people being killed on our roadways. That's never a good thing. So how do we stop that from happening? You have to slow people down. You have to put some geometry in the roadway that makes them slow down. The roundabouts do that. We did get quite a bit of public opposition on these roundabouts, but when the first one was built, now we've got some testimony. They went and published it on YouTube by themselves. That was Lakewood Ranch Development. They love them now because people are not, they're not dying there. These are not meant to eliminate crashes. Humans are vulnerable. They make mistakes. These are meant that when you are in a crash in a roundabout, you can walk away and not ride away in an ambulance. So these roundabouts, you're supposed to go through them at no higher than 20 miles an hour. So we have a series of them. You have Greyhawk, Rye Road, Lorraine is coming, and then a development is building Uline Road, all there on State Road 64. And then Seaport Manatee, we're very proud of our seaport here in District 1. Seaport Manatee is growing, and they're rehabbing berths. With the redesign or the deepening and the widening of the Panama Canal, that lets bigger ships come across and then into our area. So in order to accommodate those ships, we have to make our berths longer. Right now, the berth 4 is going to extend 600 feet. That's a pretty good distance to extend. So the port is working on this job. They had to get some pretty complicated dredge and fill permits from the Army Corps. But that's underway. We just had a ribbon cutting on phase 1 of an intermodal container yard. So lots of activities happening at the port. If you drive that section of US 41, you're seeing it. The aggregate trucks in and out, the container trucks in and out. And we're working with the port to try to improve their access along 41. So it's an ongoing conversation. Sarasota Bradenton Airport, We just had groundbreaking a couple weeks ago on the terminal expansion. This terminal expansion also includes a bigger facility for ground transportation. We were able to partner with our transit agencies and the ride shares and extend and add some overhang because there wasn't enough overhang for the transit buses to come in. So this overall is a very, very big project. You know, years ago we added a tower, then we added fuel tanks. So Sarasota-Bradenton is probably the favored airport of those in Polk County. And then coming up to the end here, the sad news of today's message is that Manatee County has 10 of the top 13 segments of roadway in District 1 from a fatal and serious injury ranking. That means that more people in Manatee County are dying on roadways than any other area in the district. So we have to figure out what to do. You know, we already went through that. We can't widen these roads. And sometimes widening the road is not the answer. The more you widen the road, the wider the intersection, the more people are going to run the traffic lights, the more pedestrians are going to take a chance and just run across the intersection. So some of the things that we're working on, we have over the next 5 years about $12 million programmed in safety enhancements, be it through a safety funded project or a Safe Routes to School project or an inclusion into a resurfacing job, just some safety enhancements, $12 million over the next 5 years. So that's a significant investment into the safety for Manatee County residents. But part of that is distracted driving. So April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month. We are all guilty. Let's please not drive distracted. And hopefully, it only takes a second, so hopefully by us not driving distracted, somebody can get home safely tonight. And with that, that concludes my presentation, and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nicole. Excellent. I believe we have some time for some questions. So if anyone has a question, if you'd please like to come up to the microphone, we'll be glad to entertain them.
Good afternoon, Mike Lee, Manatee County.
Excuse me. It'll help if we lean into the microphone a little. So get into that bad boy.
For me, one of the most dangerous parts in the roadway on State Road 64 is right where Manatee Avenue narrows down to cross the causeway. And right at that narrowing point, there are 3 horseback riding companies doing business basically 24/7, 7 days a week. And quite often, the people that are riding the horses park their cars roughly 2 feet from the roadway, right where it's narrowing down. So it's also a gawking type of exercise for the people driving their cars. You know, they're driving their car and all of a sudden there's horses to their right or horses to their left. So they're looking at the horses. And the other problem with that particular area is for pedestrians and bicycle riders, the horses are tethered in the parking areas horizontally to the road, and they're very close to the sidewalk, which is also part of DOT responsibility, as well as in the grounds on the north side of that sidewalk. I've seen cases where horses are tethered 2 feet from the sidewalk. So if the animal decides to kick its heels up, it's going to hit somebody. So my question is, or maybe the suggestion is, for DOT to take a serious look at that. We understand from the local office out in eastern Manatee County that it's being discussed at a higher level. I don't know what that means, but you're the highest level I've met so far, so I'm going to put the question to you. Thank you.
Okay, so DOT is not an enforcement agency. We are looking at this. This issue comes up frequently up to the offices in Bartow. We are looking at if there's any need or warrant for a pedestrian crossing in the area. I know there's some restrooms on one side and parking on the other. We're looking at that. We're working with our local agency from law enforcement. You know, I saw the pictures that you gave me. There's a lot of onus from the business owner that they need to take responsibility on cleaning up after the horses based on the pictures that I saw. That would be an enforcement thing. So we are working with the local law enforcement, but like I said, we don't have any enforcement power ourselves. We do design, construction. We're data geeks.
Thank you. Next.
Good afternoon. My name is Misty Servia. Thank you very much for being here. I want to thank you for your commitment to increasing public safety, especially along US 41 and 14th Street West, same road. And there have been some DOT improvements which have prevented a lot of left turns onto the roadway, which we all know, helps those pedestrians that are running back and forth not to get hit. But it also, the consequences, it pushes all of the traffic to the intersections, and it has an impact on the neighborhoods that are on each side because people are now navigating through the neighborhoods to come out where there's a light. And it's a negative impact. So my question is, how does the DOT try to balance that? We all want to reach destination zero and not have any more fatalities on our roadways, but there's a consequence, and other things are suffering.
So DOT, the planners, the designers, we're working with our local governments. We have to take advantage of the local road network. The state road is from a hierarchy. You have the city road, you have the county road, then you have the state road, then you have the interstate. We have to utilize the lowest level of roadway that's available to us because people are using the interstate as a local road. It was never intended to be that way. So the fact that they are using the local roads to come out to the state road, it's our opinion that that is what that local road is there for. The residents in the area, they're looking for the shortest path to get out to the state road. Shortest path may not always be the safest path. So they have to pick the safest path for them. They have to make the safest choice for themselves each day. I could have come any number of ways down here. I chose the path that I thought was safest. It was not the shortest. It was what I felt was the safest for me. And so there's no way to stop people from going whichever route they feel they need to do for their own safety. But we do need to use all roads available to us.
Next.
Hi, Bruce Abramson with KW Commercial. I was just wondering, do you have an update maybe on, is it State Road 44 or 44th Street with the bridge that's supposed to go over I-75 from Lakewood Ranch through, I don't know if that's 44th or 45th Street?
That project is being run by Manatee County. I do know that we have looked at it to get permission for the bridge over the interstate, and we've sent that up to Federal Highway for approval. But that's not out of our shop, that's out of Manatee County.
Please forgive the irony of my question, if you will. So let me get this straight. You're going to build a new bridge across the Manatee River in downtown Bradenton next to the DeSoto Bridge. We all know that the traffic across the Manatee River is more than what the current bridges can handle. And then you're going to tear the existing bridge down? I don't get it.
The existing bridge is experiencing maintenance issues.
Is what?
Is experiencing maintenance issues.
Anything else today? Nope, come on up. Anyone else, please make your way up to the microphone if you would, please.
Hi, my name is Catherine Ferrer, and I live nearby here. My husband owns a moving company. My question is, what is FDOT's position on induced demand? The idea that as we make these roads bigger, it makes more people think, oh, it's so easy, I'll just drive over there, and it actually just fills the roads soon after they've been, made larger.
That's one reason we're looking at what we call our year of need. If we widen the roadway too soon, then it becomes a speedway. And then everybody, they change their route, and they take that route because, they can go 80 miles an hour instead of the posted speed of 50. So we're tying the actual need as to when it needs to be replaced. We don't want to widen it too soon, but yet then if we wait too long to widen a road, then it becomes too expensive, or it's too much of a maintenance of traffic. We can't get the road built because of all the cars there. It's a fine line. We're trying to pinpoint the answer.
Next.
My name is Kathy Nunley. I'm with A Paradise Realty. As far as, and sort of circling back to the gentleman who was talking about the bridge, so when you all are working on either the DeSoto Bridge or the Manatee Bridge, you're going to shut it down to one lane? I mean, what type of alternate roadway will be viable? Because as I'm sure you're aware, the traffic, the congestion on both of those bridges in the mornings is delaying people heading into Bradenton up to an hour because it is bumper to bumper. And so as news has gotten out that they are going to be doing, bridge construction and so forth, we're hearing a lot of very nervous chatter from the folks that are coming in. So do you all have something that you're contemplating, or?
Well, the maintenance and traffic plan for the new bridge construction hasn't been designed yet, but there would be no reduced capacity of the existing bridge while we build the new bridge. It would be a phased construction, and sometimes it's like you build one lane, one direction of traffic, you move, and then you cut the existing bridge in half, and then you build on that side. So it could be a couple of different ways, or if we can get the tie-downs in, you build the entire bridge adjacent to. The problem is the tie-ins, the problem's not the bridge construction.
Hi, my name is Francine Deemer. I'm with Lighthouse Vision Loss Education Center. We help those who have low vision or are blind. I would just like to plea that you all keep our clients in mind as you're doing your transportation plans. We estimate that there are 50,000 people. We cover a 5-county region that includes Sarasota, Manatee. There are 50,000 people who are either are blind or low vision. And if you think traffic and getting around is bad when you can see, imagine what it's like when you can't. And we have clients who every day try to get Ubers, and when somebody finds out they have a guide dog, the call gets dropped. And that's, well, it's illegal, but it's reality too. So please, keep us, and I'm not just speaking for those who have sight issues, others as well. We really need the help. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming, Nicole. I'm Rob Perry. I'm the city administrator for Bradenton, and I was part of that contingency that went up to Tallahassee and met with Secretary Perdue and LK. We appreciate everything you've done. I think one of the largest elephants in the room is the congestion issue in downtown Bradenton, and the fact that we're going to spend $130, $140 million on rebuilding a bridge that is structurally deficient and needs to be repaired, but not increase capacity one lick, that will not contribute to alleviating the congestion. And I think if they see they're doing that in 2027, 3 years from now, and the same problem exists, there might be some public disagreement with things as far as the expenditure of funds. I get where we're at, and I understand that there's an A study this year that's going to look at the alternatives, but if we're talking about rebuilding in 2027, it's 2023 now, and the study has to be completed, and then capacity has to be assessed. I mean, it doesn't seem like there's a solution for at least the next 6-7 years, but there's money being built, we're rebuilding a bridge and the like. Is there any alternative plan that could expedite this to deal with the 40 or 50-minute congestion commute, both coming into town on our bridges, exiting town, and the 35 to 40% traffic congestion that never even stops in that area, Bradenton? It's congestion that's going south or heading north. What do we do about increasing our capacity?
Increasing capacity is a touchy subject. The Hernando de Soto Bridge, if that is the solution coming out for added capacity in the future, the bridge that we're replacing now could be widened. The existing bridge, you can't widen the existing bridge. It's not designed to be widened. Plus, you don't want a bridge of that structural integrity in the middle of a brand new bridge. So we get the existing capacity replaced, we restore it, and then as the capacity study goes through the steps, and if it is shown that that is where the added capacity is needed, it could be east of I-75 where we need the bridge. You know, we don't know that yet. But if it is telling us that that's where we need the added capacity, we can widen the bridge, you know, 5 years later, 10 years later, whenever we can get the money to do it.
Good enough.
Hi, Sarah Hand from Spark Growth. I believe we met at some of the events at the DOT building. Thank you, first of all, for being gracious at a very sometimes contentious topic around transportation. So I drive back and forth from Lakeland and Bradenton quite often, and so I know every way to get here that doesn't have to come over a major bridge for the river. And so when you go out State Road, when you go out 62, there is incredible building on that road. Is that going to come up sooner than later, so before it gets worse? Because then there's Spencer Paris Road, there's all kinds of roads you can go on the back.
State Road 62 is becoming one of our most watched from a traffic modeling perspective. Growth on State Road 62 is amazing. And then we had a meeting with a developer further down, further east along State Road 62, and he said, well, you're widening State Road 62. I said, no, we're not. He said, somebody told me you were widening it. I said, it's not in any of our plans. It's not in the MPO plan to widen. I said, but show me what you have, and we might need to look at it.
Right, there's a lot of traffic because of I-4, people coming down 37 or the alternative routes to 62, and then that goes over to Moccasin Wallow, which is like, that has congestion too. So just exciting. And there's horses on that one too.
I do know that our sister district out of Tampa, District 7, they do have a PD&E study underway for the widening of US 301, and the southern terminus is Moccasin Wallow. So they couldn't just stop. You can't stop a project at a county line. That's to the feds. That's like, well, what are you going to do with the traffic? You can't just stop at an invisible line. So they have to bring it into the next major intersection. So that would be Moccasin Wallow. So that section of 301 in Manatee, that is on our watch list, and we had that actually as a need sooner rather than later. So that whole area, every time I drive through it, it's amazing, the growth.
Isn't it?
To me, it's a perfect location.
Yes.
Thank you, Nicole. Yeah, would you like to? I got it.
Richard, thank you so much. Nicole, thank you so much. Great to have you here. Wayne, Keith as well. We certainly missed not having LK with us today, but he certainly sent his A-team, so thank you again. One more, just want to thank our sponsors, FP&L, Manatee Memorial, the Mosaic Company, and the Realtor Association. We could not do these monthly events without you. Next month, we will be talking about attainable housing. We will have a great panelist, so we look forward to having you there. It's going to be at Palm Air Country Club, so be on the lookout for that. Also, just wanted to put out a few reminders. I think a lot of people in this room are already signed up for Project Teach. We are looking for a few extra volunteers. because we know that there are going to be cancellations morning of. This morning when I woke up, my daughter had 102 fever. But I still would have been at Project Teach. I'm still here, right? So anyway, no, these things happen. We have sick kids, we have flat tires and everything else. So we need a few people on standby because we want to make sure every classroom, fourth grade classroom in Manatee County has one of our volunteers in it. Also, if you haven't already done it, I highly encourage you to apply for Leadership Manatee. It's a phenomenal program. We do it once a year. Applications are being accepted now, and we'll accept them through mid-May. And then for any of our healthcare employees in here, staff in here, we are accepting nominations for our Champions of Healthcare Breakfast, which is coming up in June. So we all know doctors and dentists and nurse and medical staff, and we want to recognize them. So please, please, please submit an application. With that, thank you all so much for being here, and we look forward to seeing you next month. Take care and drive safe.